Queen Elizabeth's ascension to the throne of England in 1558 brought reform in the church. Only a handful of bishops appointed by King Edward VI survived Bloody Mary's vicious assault and reign of terror. The Bible was forbidden under Mary's reign, but when Elizabeth took over, men and women everywhere could read the Bible again. Although the Geneva Bible was acknowledged to be a very good translation, the Calvinistic marginal notes offended the high church party of the Church of England, to which almost all the bishops belonged. They associated Calvinism with Presbyterianism, which sought to replace the government of church by bishops with a government by lay elders. However, they were aware that the Great Bible of 1539, which was the only version then legally authorized for use in Anglican worship, was severely deficient. The reason was that much of the Old Testament was translated from the Latin Vulgate, rather than the original Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. In an attempt to replace the objectionable parts of the Geneva translation with the inadequate parts of the Great Bible, they sought to prepare a translation of their own. Archbishop Matthew Parker, the Dean of Lincoln, and former chaplain to Queen Anne Boleyn, Elizabeth's mother, was the ideal candidate to organize and execute this new translation. In 1563, the massive project was started. The translation was an exceptional task done by fewer than 10 bishops. The translators relied on the 1550 Stephanus Greek New Testament, a 1528 Latin, and the Munster's Hebrew of 1535. On September 22, 1568, the work was introduced to the Queen, and church endorsement soon followed. The Bible had the authority of the royal warrant and was the second version appointed to be read aloud in church services, the first being the 1539 Great Bible of King Henry VIII, and the third being the King James Bible of 1611. The Bishop's Bible failed to displace the Geneva Bible as a domestic Bible to be read at home, but that was not its intended purpose. The intention was for it to be used in church as what would today be termed a pulpit Bible. The Bishop's Bible was visually spectacular with its numerous carved woodcuts, and it is still today considered as a landmark in printing achievement. The first edition was exceptionally large and included 128 full-page illustrations. The second and subsequent editions were smaller, around the same size as the first printing of the King James Bible, and most lacked illustrations other than the front and maps. The text of the Bishop's Bible also removed the controversial notes and cross-references used in the Geneva Bible. The Bishop's Bible was reissued in an extensively revised form in 1572. The last edition of the complete Bible was issued in 1602, while the New Testament continued to be reissued until at least 1617. The Bishop's Bible or its New Testament went through over 50 editions. The translators of the King James Version were instructed to take the 1602 edition of the Bishop's Bible as their basis, although many other existing translations were taken into account as well. After it was published in 1611, the King James Version soon took the Bishop's Bible's place as the de facto standard of the Church of England. On display is a facsimile of the 1568 Bishop's Bible, along with a genuine leaf from the 1568 and the 1572 editions. There's also a 1601 genuine Bible leaf of Falk's New Testament. It's a parallel Bible with the 1568 Bishop's Version in the right column and the 1582 Roman Catholic Reims Version in the left column. It was a comprehensive attempt by Dr. William Falk of Cambridge University to refute some of the readings in the Roman Catholic text with a side-by-side comparison with the Bishop's Bible. This leaf has part of what's commonly referred to as the Lord's Prayer. In the Bishop's Bible, in Matthew 6:11, we read, "Give us this day our daily bread." But in the 1582 Reims Bible, we read, "Give us today our supersubstantial bread." They changed the word daily to supersubstantial to support their doctrine of transubstantiation. That is when the bread and juice that is taken during the Lord's Supper turns into the actual blood and body of Jesus Christ. Another example is the end of verse 13. The Bishop's Bible reads, "For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever," where that phrase is totally eliminated from the 1582 Reims Bible. Either the Word of God changes you, or you change the Word of God. Before we move on to the preparation and publication of the King James Bible, I'd like to give a quick summary of the purification process up to this point. This information is included on page 3 of handout number 1. The development of the English Bible is directly related to the kings and queens of the English monarchy. Under the reign of Henry VIII, the English Bible was first persecuted, that's Tyndale's Bible of 1526, then tolerated, that's the Coverdale Bible of 1535, then permitted, Matthew Bible of 1537, and finally commanded, that's the Great Bible of 1539. Although Henry severed the link between the Church and Rome, he never permitted the renunciation of Catholic doctrine or ceremony. It was during the reign of his son King Edward that Protestantism was established for the first time in England. His reforms included the abolition of clerical celibacy, the Mass, and the imposition of compulsory services in English. But Edward's reign was short-lived. He died at the age of 16. He valiantly tried to continue the reforms by appointing his first cousin once removed, Lady Jane Grey, as queen. She was queen for just 9 days. Edward's half-sister, Henry VIII's oldest daughter, Mary seized the throne, claiming that she was the rightful heir. Lady Jane, along with her father and her husband, were all beheaded for treason. Many of the reformers fled to Geneva to escape Bloody Mary's 5-year reign of terror. The New Testament of the Geneva Bible in 1557 was completed during that time. When Mary died in 1558, her half-sister Elizabeth took the throne. Protestantism was re-established, and the Bishop's Bible was translated in 1568. Upon Queen Elizabeth's death in 1603, King James VI of Scotland ascended to the throne in England to become King James I of England. 8 years later, the Bible that bears his name was published, the Authorized Version of 1611, the King James Bible.